Hello everyone, what's up? Welcome to GMA 24, Update News Channel. Hope you will enjoy our news video. Before we begins, hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Here is the news title: Labour and Tory vote collapses in Nigel Farage's Seaside seat as reform surges. Mr. Farage represents the seaside town of Clacton in the House of Commons, where support for the two main parties seems to have slumped. The Labour and Conservative vote in Nigel Farage's constituency has collapsed as the Reform UK leader celebrates a victory. The party's candidate, Amy Kateka, won a council by-election in Bentleys and Frading, tendering this week. Yesterday, Clacton's MP hailed the result, a gain from the Conservatives, as a big win for reform. Mr. Farage's party attained 45.3% of the vote. The Liberal Democrats came second, gaining a hefty 16.8% to reach 34.4% of the ballots. The Conservatives tanked and only got 17.1%, a 31.4% decrease. Labour acquired 3.2%, down 7.7%. Reform has also won 2 seats at the Rochester East and Warren Wood by-election for Medway Council. The party's chairman Zia Youssef announced on Friday that, of the 6 recent council by-elections, Reform won 2, and came second in 2. All were with vote shares of between 27 and 45%, he added, and all were Reform's first outings in the seats. Mr. Youssef then proclaimed, "Our campaign machine is starting to fire." It comes as Mr. Farage's party has been ranked higher than Labour and the Tories in national polls. Results released by Find Out Now on Wednesday suggested that Reform UK was on 29%, plus 2, Labour 25%, plus 2, and the Conservatives on 18%, 3. At the end of January, experts at Electoral Calculus stated that polling showed Reform UK overtaking the Conservatives in its monthly poll of polls for the first time. It added, Reform are 2 points ahead of the Conservatives, and 2 points behind Labour, and in what is close to a 3-way tie in terms of vote share. Translated into seats, Labour would still be the largest party, but would be well short of a majority in the House of Commons. A Labour-Lib Dem coalition would be the most likely outcome. At the moment, with a comfortable 52-seat vote, has seen a dramatic collapse in Clacton, the seaside constituency represented by Nigel Farage in the House of Commons, as Reform UK surges in popularity. The latest council by-election results in the Bentleys and Frading ward of Tendring indicate a significant shift in voter sentiment, with the Reform UK candidate Amy Kateka securing a decisive victory. Reform UK's resounding win saw them claim 45.3% of the vote. The Liberal Democrats experienced a substantial increase in their support, finishing in second place with 34.4%, marking a gain of 16.8%. Meanwhile, the Conservative Party faced a crushing defeat, securing only 17.1% of the vote, a staggering 31.4% decline. Labour fared even worse, obtaining a mere 3.2%, down by 7.7%. Nigel Farage celebrated the by-election results, calling the outcome a big win for Reform. The victory highlights the growing appeal of Reform UK, particularly in areas where traditional party allegiances appear to be weakening. The trend was further reinforced by Reform's recent successes in Medway Council elections, where they secured 2 seats in Rochester East and Warren Wood. Reform UK chairman Zia Youssef was quick to emphasize the momentum behind the party, stating, on Friday, that of the 6 recent council by-elections, Reform had won 2 and finished second in another 2. "Our campaign machine is starting to fire," he proclaimed, signaling the party's growing electoral strength. The latest national polling data corroborates this trend, with Reform UK now outpacing both Labour and the Conservatives in voter support. A poll conducted by Find Out Now on Wednesday placed Reform UK at 29%, plus 2, Labour at 25%, plus 2, and the Conservatives at 18%, 3. This marked a significant milestone, as Reform UK for the first time surpassed the Conservatives in Electoral Calculus's monthly poll of polls at the end of January. According to Electoral Calculus, the current polling numbers indicate a highly competitive 3-way contest. While Labour remains the largest party, they fall short of a majority, making a Labour-Liberal-Democrat coalition the most viable governing arrangement, with a projected 52-seat majority. The collapse of both the Labour and Conservative vote in Clacton and other key battlegrounds signals a broader political realignment in the UK. Reform UK's increasing support among disillusioned voters, coupled with the mainstream party's declining influence, is reshaping the electoral landscape. With further by-elections on the horizon and the possibility of a general election in the near future, the trajectory of this shift will be closely watched by political analysts and party strategists alike. The factors contributing to Reform UK's rise are multifaceted. Public dissatisfaction with the Conservative government's handling of economic and immigration policies has driven traditional Tory voters toward reform. Similarly, Labour's perceived lack of a strong alternative vision has left many working-class voters disengaged. Reform's emphasis on nationalism, immigration control, and a tough stance on political elites resonates with a significant segment of the electorate, particularly in regions like Clacton, where populist sentiment has historically been strong. Beyond Clacton, similar patterns are emerging in other regions. The party's robust performance in local elections underscores its ability to convert national polling strength into actual votes. If this trend continues, the political consequences for the next general election could be profound. The prospect of Reform UK securing parliamentary seats and influencing government policy is no longer a distant possibility, but a real and growing likelihood. Political experts suggest that the traditional two-party system in the UK may be facing its most serious challenge in decades. If Reform UK continues to gain momentum, the Conservatives may be forced to adopt a more hardline stance to reclaim lost voters, while Labour may have to reconsider its approach to working-class constituencies. Nigel Farage remains a central figure in this political upheaval. His ability to galvanize support through his rhetoric and policy positions has transformed Reform UK into a credible electoral force. Whether this momentum can be sustained through a general election remains to be seen, but one thing is clear. The days of Labour and Conservative dominance in constituencies like Clacton are under serious threat. Completely blows her lid in furious Chagos Row. Not serious. The heated exchange on BBC Cabinet Minister Lucy Powell found herself at the centre of a fiery confrontation on the BBC after being pressed by Conservative MP Richard Holden over Labour's controversial handling of the Chagos Islands negotiations. The argument quickly escalated as Powell refused to disclose specific figures regarding the alleged $18 billion offer to Mauritius, leading to a tense exchange where she was accused of avoiding accountability. Powell, who serves as leader of the House of Commons, dismissed the reported price tag as nonsense, but notably failed to provide clarity when challenged. Holden, seizing the moment, prodded, "You don't know, do you?" Powell remained steadfast, insisting that details of the deal would become clear eventually. Accusations of Chinese influence, as the debate raged on, Holden further argued that Labour's handling of the Chagos Islands negotiations was absolutely not in our national interest, instead asserting that it benefited China. He raised concerns about Beijing's growing influence in the Indian Ocean, warning that Labour's deal played into China's broader geopolitical strategy. Powell, seemingly rattled by Holden's persistent questioning, accused him of interrupting her. "Are you talking over me again? Are you talking over me again?" she exclaimed. "Can I speak? Stop speaking over me. It is rude." Her frustration did not go unnoticed by political commentators and viewers, many of whom took to social media to criticize her conduct. Some described her demeanor as aggressive and patronizing, with others suggesting Labour's internal pressure was beginning to show in public appearances. The broader political context. Labour's position on the Chagos Islands has been fraught with controversy. Originally expelled by the British government in the late 1960s and early 1970s to make way for a U.S. military base on Diego Garcia, the Chagosians have long sought the right to return. Under Liz Truss's leadership in 2022, the Conservative government explored potential agreements with Mauritius, but negotiations were scrapped by Rishi Sunak. Now, with Keir Starmer at the helm, Labour has revived discussions at what some argue is a breakneck pace. Holden asserted that Labor's approach lacks transparency and is fundamentally different from the Conservatives' cautious engagement. What we were doing at the time was talking to the Mauritians about what might be the future, he said. What's come out very quickly under this government is moving at immense pace. It happened within a few months of Labour coming to power. Public and political reactions. The public response to Powell's outburst has been largely critical, with some commentators questioning why the government remains tight-lipped on the financial details of the deal. Ex-user Bernie remarked, aggressive, rude, patronizing, and bitchy behavior, because she was asked for clarity on the money being spaffed to Mauritius. What is this deadly security secret the British public are too stupid to know? Similarly, commentator Lee Harris observed, Labour's diabolical performance is having an impact on them personally. They're cracking under the pressure. Renowned political sketchwriter Quentin Letts added a touch of satire to the situation, quipping, Prozac for Powell, please, pronto. Labour's dilemma. While Labour insists that the negotiations are in Britain's national interest, the lack of transparency continues to fuel skepticism. If the $18 billion figure is indeed an exaggeration, as Powell claims, Labour must be more forthcoming with concrete figures to dispel misinformation. Moreover, the accusations of Chinese strategic interests loom large over the discussion. If the UK is seen as conceding critical territory without adequate safeguards against foreign influence, the political backlash could be severe. Conclusion. The explosive exchange between Lucy Powell and Richard Holden encapsulates a broader issue: Labour's struggle to maintain credibility and control over a contentious policy decision. If Labour hopes to avoid further political damage, it must urgently clarify the terms of its Chagos negotiations and assure the public that its decisions are truly in the national interest. Until then, heated confrontations like Powell's BBC clash will only fuel further skepticism and controversy. So what do you guys think about this update? Let me know in the comment below. If you like my video, please press like button and subscribe for more. Hope I'll see you in your completely blows her lid and furious Chagos row. Not serious. Cabinet Minister Lucy Powell lost her cool on the BBC today, amid a tense Chagos showdown with the Tory spokesman. Cabinet Minister Lucy Powell lost her rag on the BBC today after being challenged by her Tory opponent over Keir Starmer's planned Chagos surrender. Amid claims Sir Keir Starmer has now upped his offer to Mauritius to a mind-boggling $18 billion, the leader of the Commons was forced to defend the mad plan. Lucy Powell dismissed the reported $18 billion price tag as nonsense, but refused to confirm the number when pressed by Conservative Richard Holden. He provoked, "You don't know, do you?" To which she claimed they will become clear, eventually. Ms. Powell claimed the deal is in Britain's national interest, to which Mr. Holden hit back, "It is absolutely not in our national interest. It's in China's national interest." Ms. Powell then accused Mr. Holden of shouting over her, calling it not a good look, before later talking over her Tory opponent herself. After he pointed out she couldn't answer the most basic question about the cost of the deal, she began yelling, "Are you talking over me again? Are you talking over me again? Are you? Can I speak? Stop speaking over me. It is rude." The cabinet minister claimed the negotiations remain ongoing, and when they are agreed by cabinet MPs and the public will learn the details of the PM's surrender. Mr. Holden insisted that Labour's deal is nothing like what the Tories began exploring under Liz Truss in 2022, negotiations later scrapped by Rishi Sunak's government. He explained, "What we were doing at the time was talking to the Mauritians about what might be the future. It's quite clear now what's come out very quickly under this government is moving at immense pace. It happened within a few months of Labour coming to power. There's a deal around the future, some money. Lucy won't tell us how much it's going to cost us. There are real issues now around China. Not just the Silk Road, but their massive land grab across the Indian Ocean and the Far East." The former Tory chairman accused Ms. Powell of losing her rag during the debate. User Bernie said, aggressive, rude, patronizing and bitchy behavior because she was asked for clarity on the money being spaffed to Mauritius. What? Is this deadly security secret the British public are too stupid to know? Lee Harris said, I have never seen anything like it. Labour's diabolical performance is having an impact on them personally. They're cracking under the pressure. Legendary. Political sketch writer Quentin Letts quipped, Prozac for Powell, please, pronto.